You have a background that I would love if you mind sharing. That for so many people is going to be like interesting and inspiring at the same time.
So I'm not a content creator. And at one point I found myself either on the street or going to end up in a shelter or something like that. I think we need to survey the audience, especially because this is your audience and they've been with you for a long time.
Ours now.
Our audience now, but fundamentally with you, they've been with you for so long. So they're interested in you.
Yeah.
They're excited about what you've accomplished. So
they don't need to know. So hello guys, welcome to the first episode of this. I don't know what happened with my voice. But anyway, welcome to the first episode of the Hustler. And like you guys know, in the last video that I made, I was really like very into podcasting. And I want to talk about that. And I want to introduce you to my co-host and partner, Holly Daniels. And she's going to be all the time here with me, with us in the podcast. And we're going to be talking in this first episode about
No, we're going to be talking about just laying the foundation, you know?
Mm-hmm.
What is this podcast going to be about? It sounds like it's going to be business oriented, but we know we want to keep it really about what it means to be successful or get ahead or in your own way.
Yeah.
You know, whether that's economic, whether that's mentally, emotionally, in your career or social things that you're into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for the people that are new here to the channel, my name is Alex Rodriguez. I've been creating content for over 6 years now. And you can actually look to some of the content in the channel. It was about tourism in Cuba, etc., etc., etc. But I want to introduce you guys to Holly and tell us a little bit more about you so people are going to have like a feedback.
So I'm not a content creator or present online very much. I am when I have to be for work. But I met Alex through social media when I was researching Cuba and looking for content that was in English so that I could orient myself a little better, and met him in person a few years ago.
4?
Yeah, something like
5?
that. Yeah, a while ago. And the rest is history.
Yeah. Long story short, she was my first client. And actually, I posted something in LinkedIn, like how important it is to have that like the good relationship with your client, like can literally change your life. And what is it that you do for a living, so people know? And what do you think about the podcast and all this craziness?
So by trade, I am a licensed esthetician, and I've worked in the beauty industry for 10 years. I still work in the beauty industry. That is like the biggest part of what I do. You know that. I work in beauty education, still work in beauty education. I love it. It's amazing. But I'm also a creative at heart. And I did go to school for photography. So doing videography and being creative is not left field for me. And I still have to practice that in what I do every day. But this is all new for me. So this is exciting because anyone who knows me knows I love to talk.
Okay, we're going to be talking a lot. And I think that if we're going to be talking about successful people, first of all, we need to talk about you. And because I want to talk about you for a little bit. And then if you wanted to add any other, I don't know, extra information, because you have a background that I would love if you mind sharing, that for so many people is going to be like interesting and inspiring at the same time. So if you don't mind, talk to us a little bit more about your past, because for me it's emotional, you know, and so people can know exactly what are the topics that we're going to have. And because at the end we want to touch whatever is the guest that we're going to have in the future. We want to touch and we want to look for that piece inside of the heart that is going to be emotional, because whether it's an entrepreneur or an artist or a specialist, we have always a background, and you're more than that. You're I don't know, you are very inspiring to me. So please go ahead.
I mean, likewise,
No,
I
yes,
feel
of
the
course. Yeah,
same way. Well, it's what makes it interesting is that, or both of our stories interesting, is how two people can come from very different environments and struggle in very different ways, but it's part of what shapes you. It's part of what makes you who you are. And regardless of where you come from, you have struggles. So I always tell people we all have our own capacity to handle the struggles that come at us. So for people who are still struggling or still overcoming obstacles in their life, my journey has made me have a perspective on this that's like, I don't judge people who are still on that journey as long as they're working on it. And sometimes you can't do it alone. I didn't do it alone. I credit a lot of what I've been able to overcome by the people around me and the people I met. It wasn't me. Like you say, oh, you're so inspiring. But really, who I am today is a result of the people that have been around me and that have helped me overcome some of these things. You still have to have that mindset of wanting to, but it's the people around me that really helped me overcome it. So we can dive into this, I think, really in depth, but just to give that background to people who are watching, what Alex is talking about is my childhood, how I came to be in the position that I am. Like, people who know me now know that I'm a career woman, that I work in corporate beauty America. I love it. But I was what you would call the hidden homeless at one point in my life, where I was hotel to hotel. Both of my parents struggled with addiction, and one of them still does very badly to this day. One of them is really on an amazing journey of healing and recovering, has been many years sober now. But this means that I really didn't have a lot. And at one point I found myself either on the street or going to end up in a shelter or something like that. And I actually confided in a friend about what was going on because I was stuck in a hotel alone, well, with just my brothers. My youngest brother, he's a half brother. So he, to me, it's weird to say that because I think of him as like, he's my brother, but his aunt was able to take him in. My other brother went with my father way out in the desert. And I, at that time, was like, I want to continue the path I'm on. I was in school and I was making friends for the first time. I was like, I want to do this, And I confided in a friend of mine, and she told her parents. And her parents said, absolutely not. You can come. You can, stay with us for a little bit and we'll figure it out. And those people ended up basically raising me and continuing to be like, I don't know what I would do without them to this day. They're my other parents, and they have a good relationship with my mom and my parents as well. But yeah, there's a long story filled with sighs, but I think we can probably dive into it more and more as we piece this along, as we get to know each other a little bit more. But this is all to say that also a part of this podcast, or part of the point, is that, again, finding success or overcoming obstacles looks different. So for me, it's like that is a success story for me. And it was with the help of other people, of course.
100%.
Yeah.
What is mind-blowing for me, of course, I think it's going to be mind-blowing for everyone, is that you were able at 15 years old to deal with all this situation.
Oh, yes, I was 15 years old.
Yeah.
In case we failed to mention that.
Nowadays, you see like kids at 15 years old and their mentality is completely different. And actually, that's one of the topics that we could talk in the future with some specialists. I don't know, because childhood or having a kid or housing is kind of tricky sometimes in this
Yeah.
country.
Yes, in this country it
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
Because there is so many things that you can like get lost
Yeah.
easily.
Yeah, exactly. There's also a lot of resources, and they're not always easy to find or have or grab, and shockingly are underfunded or overflowing with people who need that support. And I think that people think of the United States as this, or people outside of the United States, people who are not living this experience, think of the United States with like hope and it's like something. How do you say?
Well, it's kind of a dream.
Yeah.
People think that the United States is, to me, don't get me wrong, is the best country for so many reasons.
Yeah.
And especially for business or whatever, that you want to. There's so many ways that you can produce here, but it has like so many like dark sides. And but yeah, for so many people, including me, it was a dream to be here. And I think that once you're here and you understand how this country works, or at least you start like seeing and looking around, like how the economy or drugs, or there's so many things, and you got to be very clear about where do you want to go, who do you want to be hanging out with, or I think it's very easy to fuck it up here, like 1,000 times more than any other country.
Well, and there's also a lot of like assumptions that are made. For example, growing up, it was like made very clear to me that it was so important to have a degree, and that degree has helped me. Don't get me wrong.
That's what you were saying.
As I was saying, and this is going to be a whole episode in and of itself. Absolutely. But college.
Okay.
Yeah. So my degree, everyone told me you have to get a degree. A degree is essential. And like I said, it has helped me. It has come in handy. However, when you're 18 years old and you're meeting with a college counselor and you're trying to find financial aid, there is aid available. There are people who get full scholarships for college, but not everyone. But everyone wants to go to school. So the only other option is loans. And now we have a big student loan specifically problem in this country.
I've seen a lot of videos about that.
Yeah.
And I don't know, you as an American, let me know. What do you think is it mandatory? Not mandatory, but do you think is like smart to go, I don't know, and get into a loan for getting into college? Or now with all the technology that we have out there, is like any other way that you can learn or whatever? Because it's hard. Like if you want to study and you have the money, which is normal, you got to get a loan.
Yeah. Or if you are able to get a scholarship and you're able to get money to cover it, I think there's value. And I love to learn, but I haven't stopped learning since leaving school. So do you need to get a degree to continue to learn? If you're a learner, you're going to learn for the rest of your life. So do you need to go to school to be that way? Not necessarily. Some people, I think, also might need school because they're trying to get into a certain discipline. If you are interested in medicine and you want to be a doctor or a specialist, you have to go to school.
Yeah.
But for what I went to school for, did I have to? Maybe
Probably
not. Yeah, but I did enjoy it. I did enjoy the experience. But I don't think that it's essential for everyone. It's really each individual path. And when you're 18 years old, though, and you are having this kind of, and now I don't know, I'll have to be thinking about college in a few years for my own son, but it must look different now. It has to look different now. Like what is the trajectory? And I also did trade school because I went to esthetician school, and I do think that there's value in that as well. So it really depends on like your personal path. And back when I went to college, though, it was like expected, almost like mandatory that you go to school. And at 18 years old, you're not thinking about the implications of debt because you don't even learn that in high school. It's just kind of like, oh, everyone does it and it's a low interest rate and you pay it back as you need, blah, 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 blah. That's how it's put down in front of you. At 18-year-old, your brain is not fully developed. You're still not you at 18.
Yeah. And as we were saying, because they don't teach you that.
Right.
That's when you start like making mistakes.
Yeah.
What about the parents? Like,
so
if, for example, you have your kid.
Yeah.
Are you able to get a loan? Like, do you know they're going to get another debt just because your kid is going to get college? Or,
yeah, because if you have parents who are making a certain amount of money, they have to sign this with you and they are responsible financially for a certain amount. So that's a whole other complex issue that is changing. Like things are changing right now as we speak. So,
yeah, well, we're talking about the majority of people. Right?
The majority of people are probably like me, where they have their own individual debts. They have to have like their parents sign some things to show that they are eligible to get these loans, but they carry the debt primarily. Yeah.
What about, for example, now that we're talking about this, let's say that you finish school, okay? And you want to get a job.
Which I did.
Okay.
Finished school and I wanted to get a job.
Okay. Nowadays, I don't see it again. You tell me. I don't see this necessity of having a degree to get a job. Or it depends about the job.
Exactly.
Or it depends about the profession they're going to be doing.
Exactly.
But overall, like, it's like rare seeing small business or even a business like asking for, hey, show me your degree or whatever.
It's true. And a lot of things you are going to be learning on the job anyway, no matter what. Even if you do have a degree, you're going to learn about systems, processes, and all of this from that job. So getting a degree, again, it's super personal. It's it really just depends on what you're trying to accomplish. But I don't think that you need to have a degree to be financially successful.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I don't have any. I'm lost. Oh my God. Actually, in Cuba, there's another thing that many people try to put in your brain. Like, hey, you need to have a degree. You need to have a degree. I don't know here, but.
Oh, yeah, here. That's what I'm saying. It's like that. It's like that here.
If you're doing podcasting, this is not a job. This is not.
Right. Like, this is a hobby.
Yeah. Get a real job, 9 to 5, go to an office, get a check or whatever and salary. And
well, yeah. And here, though, also, there's a lot of things that are tied to your job, like in health insurance. That's tied to work. So people want you to have good health insurance. So they want you to get a job. Or they want you to your parents want you to have a paycheck that's reliable. They want to like feel like, okay, like, you have the degree, you're going to get the good job and you're going to be good. You have good insurance. You're going to get a 401k or a pension. I mean, RIP pensions. Some have pensions, but it's like there's so much that is also our peers, parents, people in our lives want to see us be safe.
Yeah. Now that you talked about the parents, something that it's hard for me to say this, but so many people, like, they think in their own future, but thinking about what the parents want for them.
Yeah.
And this country is like wild. And like, hey, Holly, you have to get a degree and you need to go to this school and then you have to get this job. And then
a lot of countries are like that, by the way.
Bro, there's no life. Who are you? I know you're my mom, whatever, but who are you to like live my life? Let me just be.
Yeah. Well, there's like I said, number one, I think there's parents who just want to see that their children are going to have like stability.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are, I think, parents that are like living vicariously through their children, which is not healthy. Like they're trying to like push the things that they wanted to do in their life onto their kid.
Mm-hmm.
So that there's that relationship, there's that dynamic. So that exists too. But it is, at least it was. I don't know now. I don't I feel like we're moving away from that. Because right now I think, yes, like I'm an older millennial with a baby, but I have friends who have teenagers. So they had kids a lot younger. And I think that like millennials, especially the way that millennials parent is different. So the expectations that they're putting on their children is changing. And I think it's becoming a little healthier. We millennials, for the most part, like we're big on therapy. We're big on self-improvement. So we're trying to break cycles. Those cycles still exist in a lot of places, but I think overwhelmingly we are trying to change that dynamic as a culture overall. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm being optimistic, but I think we are.
I don't know. We have a huge like list of the people that we could have. Actually, today we had a response of one of them. But what do you think that it could be a good topic that people might be interested in and that we can talk about in the future episodes?
I think we need to survey the audience, especially because this is your audience and they've been with you for a long time.
Ours now.
Our audience now, but fundamentally with you, they've been with you for so long. So they're interested in you.
Yeah.
They're excited about what you've accomplished. So
they don't need to know.
But they're going to know, because I do feel like there's an opportunity. I personally, when I go back and I watch your YouTube channel, and even like the last few, there's so much to your story.
Bro.
Yes.
Bro.
So
I don't say bro that much. Just because this,
bro.
Yeah, bro.
Just bros.
Bro. I'm telling you. Those videos when I was creating content, I had no idea what I was doing.
Yeah.
And when I see that, which is good, because when you don't know what you're doing that because you feel passionate about it.
Yeah.
That you don't care about what other people think, which is super. But now that I see some videos, not all of them, but some videos, I'm like, what the heck?
Well, that's why they say, like, if you want to do something and you're worried or you're scared about doing it, you're supposed to do it scared. Like, you're just supposed to do it.
Yeah. And
you have that. Like, when we talk about being inspired, that's what inspires me about you. Because you approach things with such confidence and also like this effervescence.
What does that mean?
It's like effervescence is like the sparkling water. It's fizzy.
Well, what I think is that I don't have fear, and that's a huge mistake. And at the same time, it's good, but I think it's a huge mistake, because at least you need to, like I just said, you need to know exactly where you're going. And sometimes I don't even know where I'm going. There is a wall, and I go through the wall, and I don't care.
You don't know what's on the other side of the wall.
Yeah. So it could be a cliff. I don't know, but I just go. And
big risk, big reward.
Yeah. Actually, I'm here because of YouTube.
Yeah.
Of course, because basically that's how I met you. That's how I met my friends. But is when you're younger, like 21 to 24, I would say, like there are some people that they are like focused and they know exactly. I had no idea. I was in COVID. I was like, okay, I have to create content. What I'm going to be talking about? I had like zero idea of this. And I went to my room. I closed the door. I was like, let's watch YouTube and I'll learn. And everything I was learning, I was documenting in YouTube. Then when I saw that I got like my first 40 subscribers, I was like, okay, there's a lot. 40 people, bro.
Yeah.
They don't fit in here. And I was like, wow, I feel important. Let's make a course. I made a course, 7 episodes about how to become an entrepreneur in my room.
I love it.
Without a business, without anything. And people were like, do you have any business? And I was like, no, I'm just sharing what I just,
You're like, I'm sharing what I've learned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when I got this job as a tour guide, I was like, a friend of mine, Franco Mayeris, he told me, why don't you take an advantage of the English, the job that you're doing right now? And why don't you talk about the tourism, like get people so you can build a business? I was like, wow, great idea. Let's do that. And that's when I was like, what am I talking about if I don't even have a business? Like having a YouTube channel is a business because you're building a brand, you're building a business in the long term, but people don't see it that way.
Yeah.
But I at that moment, it was like, I'm just playing, I am enjoying this. I have enjoyed. I was like, okay, let's switch to tourism. And then, what happened?
Yeah.
People got interested in traveling to Cuba. I was the only person in Cuba creating content in English, which was good. Risky, but good, because the first video was like terrible. But people, they didn't
Well,
care.
at that time, when I was first looking for like learning about Cuba, because I think, like, for example, in South Florida, there's Hialeah, there's Little Havana. People call Little Havana, but they call Hialeah Big Havana. because it's basically the Cuba outside of Cuba. And so people there are very familiar with what it's like to visit. They have family there. They have roots there. They have ties there. Miami is the capital of Latin America, for those of you that don't know. So coming from SoCal, being born and raised in Southern California, and the first time that I was going, I knew nothing. There are barely Cubans in Southern California. There are Cubans everywhere, and there are Cubans in Southern California. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But it's not like being in Miami, like when I was in Miami. So, and at that time, I did not speak words, phrases in Spanish, not like essential Spanish like I speak now. But so I was looking for content in English, but all I was finding was people who had visited.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I don't want that content.
Yeah. I want to know about Cuba from people in Cuba.
Exactly. Because I was like, I have a feeling if you don't know what's going on the inside, you're going to get fucked. Can I say fuck?
I think so. We can.
Okay.
Yeah, beep it.
Anyway, so, and actually, long story short, we did. I remember like the group that I went with had rented 2 cars from some, I don't know, or some organization or travel agency or whatever. And I was like, dude, I don't know if we're going to be able to get 2 cars from what I'm understanding. This is kind of like from where we rented and all this stuff. Like, I don't know if we're going to be able to get 2 cars easily. We ended up with the 1 car. So it's like, I was like, then I was feeling like, yeah, like I learned because I was seeking information from the inside, you know? So your content was very valuable at that time. Yeah. And you kept creating content. That was another thing, is like, it was current.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, okay, here's someone who is in Cuba and they wrote a blog post 5 years ago.
For you as a tourist, that was something like new every time. For me, I felt like I'm filming the same,
Right.
because it was the same.
Exactly.
And actually, some people, like, if you watched one of the old videos, there are people commenting, oh, this information is now, valuable, blah, blah, blah. Bro, we're talking about a video of, I don't know.
Are you kidding? If you look at my TikTok,
yeah,
and I'm talking about the currency exchange, people are like, that's not accurate. I'm like, that was 2023.
Yeah.
Shit changes in a day. Yeah. Right now.
So, for content, that was good because, I was talking about currency all the time.
Yes.
It was like going like this, crazy. Yeah. But to me, it was like, bro, I'm tired. It's the same. I want to travel. I want to, because most of the travel content creators, they were like traveling new places. Yeah. And I was like stuck in Cuba. And there was a point in my life, like I was with my camera and I couldn't go out. It's like,
right. Well, and then I imagine, because the same thing happens to me even now, that you might post a video about one topic and people will comment asking you about something you had posted about 2 months ago or something.
Oh.
Right. So you keep getting, like, you have to create again and again and again. So it is repetitive, but it has to be valuable. Mm-hmm. Like, you have to make sure that the people that you didn't hit back then now you're hitting those people.
Yeah. That's
so it can
that's true.
feel tedious, but it's, speaking of business, entrepreneurship, and marketing, it's not tedious. It feels like I'm bombarding my audience with the same information, but that person might not have been on for a couple days or something. They missed it. Or you have a new follower and they're still going through your content. They missed it. So things that feel tedious are not tedious.
Yeah. Something that I also did that got me to that point, it was like everything I was doing was going back to YouTube. Like if I made a penny, not with YouTube, because of course that was not possible, but any client that I got, whatever, I put it back in content creation so I can give more value to the people. And that's it. There's not like too much going on for me.
But I like that it's still an example. It's still a good place to talk about, like you're saying, I was posting the same stuff. I feel like even now, like you're creating this podcast, we're creating this podcast as a branch off of another successful podcast that you had. But we'll probably still have some of the same topics and similar, themes. And it's still potentially going to be valuable. I mean, I know it is to some people, but it's like you have to keep the wheel moving.
I'm pretty sure we're going to be talking about same topics every time because it's going to be a different person, a different guest, and different stories. And you're not going to be reaching the same person every time. So you're welcome if you're here. Subscribe. And sometimes I was that camera turn off.
Again.
Yeah.
And what's with this one? I just would like to point out here that we have 3 cameras, 3 different brands. And who has been the most consistent so far? Who's been the most consistent? Tell them.
Because, I mean, okay. What I was talking about? I forgot.
We were talking about themes podcast.
Oh, yeah.
The answer is Nikon.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, what I was saying?
Guests. The guests we're going to have.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about the guests.
Yeah, but what else?
Themes.
Mm-hmm. Are we going to be talking about the same?
Mm-hmm. But also when it comes to the themes, for anyone who has gotten this far in our rambling on in this first episode, please let us know in the comments what is valuable to you.
Yeah.
Are these personal stories, like getting to know more about my story, about Alex's story, or even when we have guests on, not only about what they're doing in their life, like professionally, personally, but then how they grew, how they got there. Is that valuable to you? I want to know.
Yeah. Oh, no. I remember what I was talking about is that I was very, very worried about changing again because I have changed so many times in my life. And I was like, what are you going to do now? I was like, probably a podcast, why not? But then I was like, okay, how do I let my audience know that I'm going to be switching again? It's not that super switching, but because I'm still here, but they're not going to be talking about Cuba anymore.
Yeah.
And
I think Cuba's going to come up a lot more often than we probably think.
Because I'm Cuban.
Yeah.
I have.
And that's a big part of your journey.
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
But it's not going to be like, hey, if you want to go to
Cuba. And a big part
Cuba,
of my journey.
Yeah.
We'll get the tea on that one another time.
But anyway, I was like, okay, let's do it. And some people commented like, hey, we can't wait to see where you're, up to. And that freaked me out. Like, I can't believe they used to hear. Like, I've been out almost a year from the last video, but it was almost a year from the last video. So I've been out of YouTube for a long time because I've been doing a lot of things, and I've
been learning.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the point of this.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to disappear
Yeah.
and do things and then come back stronger. But anyway, I think that the podcast is going to be doing a lot for a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's going to be helping a lot.
And for us, like I do feel similar to me that you like to learn. And that's part of what attracts you to podcasting.
Yeah.
Is the opportunity to learn from others. So that's the big picture.
Mm-hmm.
That's the idea.
I'm always open to learn, open to, I would say, make. I enjoy so much like this, like starting from zero, more than having something already set up and run it. I need to feel the pressure of have nothing and then going back like a phoenix.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
like this beautiful studio, which
we've
set up in our living room.
Yeah. 2 hours. Yeah. But we're like, if we're gonna start, let's just start with whatever it is that we have. Yeah. And then we
at some point your mic stands don't work, they don't work. Yeah. What are you gonna do?
Exactly. But then if you don't break the ice, you're not gonna start,
Exactly.
So we're like, just F.
Yeah.
And probably
no notes. We had no notes. We were like, let's just go for it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
We know exactly where we're gonna go, but right now we're just like. Okay.
So then, do you think that the name of the podcast is appropriate?
To me, it means a lot.
Yeah. Like, talk about it.
The Hustler.
Yeah.
I've been since I was like 19 to 20 years old. I've been working for myself all the time.
Yeah.
And it's been hard for me having somebody else on top of me say me or tell me what to do, when to do it, blah, 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 blah. So I come from a country like being a hustler is daily basis. You need to find something in order to put a plate in your table, And then when I come here to this country, that I realized what hustling means, because you have the opportunities, and I made a lot in the 10 months that I've been here.
Even in your first 4 months, I was just like,
yeah, I was like
proud,
bro. I was freaking out because I was like, the fucking camera turns off again. We're by Nikon. I gotta cut this, bro. It's way too much. What the fuck is happening? I think it's overheating. But anyway, I'm gonna use this too.
Yeah.
It was like so much going on and so many things at the same time. And in my mind, I wanted to be like my next Alex. I don't know if you know what I mean. It's like,
yeah,
I come from having nothing and trying to do everything, and come here where there's everything and you can do everything. So I was trying to do everything, having nothing again. And I might like kind of something. And I don't feel like I failed, but I feel like I've learned again, because this country, like we were talking about it, this country has like so many things that they're very easy to make you go for the wrong places or the mistakes and make mistakes. So I was like, I know this country more than so many people, because from Cuba, I was studying like how to launch a business, how to open an LLC, how credit works, blah, 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 blah. So I was kind of ready. But then when I got here, that I was like, this is a huge place, or however you want to call it. This is more than I thought. It was like,
yeah,
there's even like dealing with the insurance or dealing with all this crap. It was like, oh my God.
Okay.
I'm going to die. Yeah. I'm solo here, I'm gonna freaking out.
Well, the reason I asked about the name is because for American viewers, and I think that a lot of American viewers will resonate with me on this, when we see something like Hustler or like whatever in the title, we think of like the Bitcoin bros or, the really aggressive real estate people, the people that are just kind of like trying to lure you into something that's smoke and mirrors. That's, I think, let us know. Like when you see that kind of a title or name, that's what I think the typical American might think about. But I wanted to hear your perspective because for you, in your perspective, growing up, hustling meant literally just like making it happen.
Mm-hmm.
And that is like, I remember even being home, like I wasn't in Cuba at that time because, I was in Cuba all the time. And in a group chat, you were just like, hey, where can I find like AA batteries? And like the simple thing like that struck me like, oh man, that's part of the hustle. That's part of the daily grind, if you will. Where me, I'm just like, fuck, I'm so blessed that I could literally get AA batteries in 10 different places within walking distance from me, But that's why I wanted to ask about the name, because when I see hustle, I'm thinking, okay, this is going to be a podcast that's based on like how to get rich fast or whatever. But really I wanted it to be defined.
Yeah.
And defined by how you are looking at it.
I'm looking at hustling in the human way.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you're hustling as a mother.
Yeah.
And no matter what, you need to put a plate of food on the table for that kid.
Yep.
And that's a hustle. But so many people think hustling with money, which is okay.
Yeah.
Because at the end, everything is about money. You have to make money. But I want to know the people that we're going to have as a guest, what is hustling for them?
Yeah.
Because no matter what you do in life, you got to do some hustle. Some people don't. They just live life with, echang aire. But I feel like, I feel that in my body, I don't know how to call that. I feel something that I have to work on that a lot. But I need to be in action all the time.
Yeah.
And thanks to you, I've been like
slowing down a little bit.
Down,
yeah. Because there is value in rest.
Yeah.
There's value in the mental health. Says the girl with years of therapy.
Yeah.
Something that I didn't do regularly until I was in my 30s.
We're talking at what second?
I don't remember.
Oh my God.
Listen, it's been a long day.
Yeah.
We're just trying to flow here. And our cameras are refusing to cooperate. Except for mine.
They don't understand how hot it is.
It is really hot. It is like 80 degrees in here now.
Thank God that it's dry. Otherwise, we're melting.
Yeah, we'd be melting. We're talking about hustler, the meaning, defining.
Yeah.
And slowing down.
Yeah. So I'm trying to work on that because I know it's been almost a year for so many people. That's like a long time. For me, it was nothing. But now I'm trying to not go slower, but I'm trying to understand the process a little bit more. So I'm not going to be making
and
the same
see the
mistakes.
value in the slow moments.
Yeah. So I'm working on that.
Good.
Yeah.
Because rest is work too.
Yeah. Sometimes.
You got to have a rest day. So that's another thing that Alex and I are both passionate about. It's fitness and health.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to rest.
I forgot, bro. I forgot Saturday and I was going to the gym.
I went to the gym on Saturday.
Yeah, but
that's because I'm doing a new program.
No, let's go to the gym. Let's do it.
And I was glad you did. Sunday is rest day though. Today's Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
So did we rest today though? Arguably,
no. It's like 9 o'clock.
Yeah. Well, we got up, got breakfast.
Bro, you got to hustle. But anyway, guys, we're going to have very interesting topics and guests. I think this podcast is going to grow really fast because of the value that we're going to be giving to the people. That's the most important thing. I'm not even worried about the lighting or all the stuff, which normally I do.
Yeah.
But I'm more about
do our best.
Yeah.
But the point is to keep it going.
Yeah, exactly. So today we're recording here. Tomorrow, who knows? We're going to be in a garage.
Right. Or someone's home or whatever.
Yeah.
Or someone's business. Maybe, being in someone's business.
Yeah. But you're going to still have the content and the value and learning something.
Yeah. Exactly.
From the people that we're going to have. Anything else they want to add?
Honestly, I feel like what I really want to get from, again, anyone who's made it this far, just one more time, please let us know what you find valuable, what you love learning about, what you love to hear about. I'm a big consumer of podcasts. I love to listen to podcasts. I'm a learner. So I want this space to be a space that I would go to as well. But to go there, we also need to make sure that it's not just me and you doing what we want. Because there's going to be a lot of times where, honestly, there's probably going to be guests that we want to have because they inspire us.
Oh, yeah. Like mostly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we also want to make sure that it's valuable to our audience.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not going to bring here any crazy, how do you say the people that they're talking bullshit and selling smoke?
What, smoke and mirrors?
Smoke and mirrors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We're not going to have that. That's tricky to me. I don't believe in that shit. So I want to thank you guys for being here one more time and believing in this, because I believe in this. She does. And again, I think it's going to be super duper extra.
Yeah.
Mega. So thank you.
And thanks for bearing with us and the camera difficulties and how tired we are.
You're not going to see that, bro. They're not going to see that. But
yes, they are.
Oh,
you got to keep some of it in there.
Yeah.
We have to keep it real. We have to keep it raw.
Yeah. Maybe
I truly believe. Yeah.
One or two.
No.
But it's been a lot.
There's been a lot.
Yeah.
But from your point of view, listen, we'll keep it as real as we can without disrupting your flow either.
But again, we're blessed. We have 3 cameras.
Yeah.
So I started with a GoPro.
So dope.
So see you guys in the next episode. Ciao, Pekala with the Picadillo. Holly.
Nice to meet you all. I'll be seeing you soon.
Yeah, Alex. Nice to meet you all. And see you in the next episode. Leave in the comments below what you want to have, or if you want any special guest and about any other special topic.
Yeah. And let us know. What's Hustler mean to you?
Yeah. Ciao, Pekala.